Hello, and welcome to another episode of Roots and Hoots, a podcast project produced by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. Since 2020, we have been gathering, laughing, learning hard truths, and sharing in community conversations with Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island. Each episode, we learn something new, and we're excited to be sharing this journey with you. Roots and Hoots is about connecting with and celebrating Indigenous peoples' contributions to their fields of study, work, and cultures. We also speak with allies who share how they are furthering the work of reconciliation in Canada. To learn more about the Legacy of Hope Foundation and the work that we do, please visit legacyofhope.ca.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Roots and Hoots. In this episode, host Gordon Spence speaks with Marty Wildman as he is on location with Lone Eagle Ventures, an organization that fosters healing and provides empowering tools in communication, respect, leadership, and trust through equine-assisted learning. Marty Wildman is from the Minisni Reserve in Alberta. He is a man who wears many hats, many cowboy hats, if you will. Please enjoy this special episode of Roots and Hoots.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Roots and Hoots. I'm your host, Gordon Spence, and today my guest is Marty Wildman from Alberta. Hello, Marty, and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm all set. I am doing really well, thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Okay, maybe you can just start telling us a little bit about your home community and your cultural affiliation.
My home community, I'm from the Minisni Reserve out in Alberta, just west of Calgary. They changed the name. It was known as Morley for the longest time, and they just changed their traditional name last year, I believe. And now it's officially called Minisni. So in our language, the Stoney Nakoda language, it means cold water. And they just, so that's, now it's officially Minisni, Alberta. So that's where I come from. I'm based, my hometown is there. My mom's from there. But I come from both the Gaina tribe down in southern Alberta, Sanoff Reserve, and Morley. So I'm from both places, and my affiliation was with them, and including Siksika. I have a family in Siksika and stuff. So I have family everywhere, and that's where my travel. So I'm kind of like a mix of Stony and blood.
We were actually in Morley, your community, a few years ago on another project, an education project, but it got discontinued when your government changed governments. And we actually went up on top of the hill there. You have a hill that overlooks the whole area, the town. Such a beautiful scene. Your community is quite beautiful, and the area is quite beautiful as well. So we really enjoyed our time there. But I wanted to ask you, Stony is what is it, Lakota, Ojibwe, or
Nakota Sioux? We're the Assiniboine Nakota Sioux is what we branched off of. So we're like there's the Lakotas, the Dakotas, and Nakota. So we're Nakota Sioux.
Yeah, so Dakotas are originally from the States. Did you migrate from the States, or at some point?
Yeah, I believe that's the story that I was told, that we migrated up from there, and we base camp over where we are now, like our throughout Treaty 7. They're along through the foothills and through the mountains and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your family. Like you mentioned that some of your family are from Siksika and Kainai.
Yeah. So my mom and dad are my dad's from the Blood First Nation down in Gaina, and my mom's is from the Chiniki Nation in Stony. And my late grandfather was from Siksika. So we have a lot of family and friends all over the place. But I kind of grew up around Morley, or Minisni now, and so it's I've learned a lot from my grandparents and my uncles and stuff, who were my grandparents. My mom and her siblings were all residential school survivors. So I'm the intergenerational survivor of the residential school. Kind of like I like to say is like the product of what unhealing looked like and whatnot. And I tell that in my documentaries. Like, my parents didn't have the skills necessary or the tools necessary to actually nurture somebody like me. So that's why I do, like, again, just I have one late, my like, I guess, a blood brother. My mom and my dad had three kids. My older sister Amanda, myself, and my younger brother. He passed away a few years back, and whatnot. So, but we do have. My dad had a few other kids after that, so we have quite a big family from my dad's side. So we it's quite the dynamic, I guess.
Yeah.
And again, my grandfathers and my grandparents in Standoff or Guyana, they've um they they're very strong Christians, and
Yeah.
they've really instilled that Christian belief in us. And also back in Stony, my grandfathers and my grandmother they're not as traditional as a lot of people are, because they were stripped of that tradition and their customs, but they were more or less cowboys and ranchers and stuff, and that's how everybody knew my grandfather. They knew him as the cattle king back in the day. So he was always the one that they went to when it came to stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. How has the residential schools, how has it impacted your life?
Yes, because of the non-nurturing is we've never gotten that nurturing because of how rigid and how the whole unhealing part of whatever happened to what my parents went through in residential school and all the trauma they did. We're all trauma based and stuff. So it really affected us all the way down the line where we became hereditary alcoholics, and it just and we didn't know how to cope with it. We didn't have the tools properly. Like, we didn't have that nurturing, and um it was hard because we didn't, again, they didn't have the tools to be parents for us,
Mm.
and we didn't understand why they did what they did. But now, after going through our journey, our own healing journey and stuff like that, it's coming kind of full circle now.
Yeah.
And it had a huge impact on our lives because we didn't understand the reason why we got abandoned, or why we had to get our haircuts this certain way, why we had to speak a certain way, why we weren't allowed to look at certain things, and and, and it just it kind of caused a huge ripple effect throughout my sister and my life. And then I had to change my way of thinking in order to help my kids become, you know, help them in their when they're growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, I never got that nurturing in it to this day. Still, when uh, if my mom would to call me and she says, "I love you, son," or so, it's really hard on me to accept it because I never had that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's it's, to me, but it's part of the old healing process where I have to start believing, um, you know, in what my mother is saying, in what she went through. Because she told us a little bit about what she went through, but not a whole lot. So,
Yeah.
like, even with their court documents and through the whole TRC and stuff like that, it was really challenging for her and actually, and even my grandparents and my late uncle, like, if whatever trauma they went through, and they never got to really share a whole lot with us, but they
Yeah.
shared enough for me to understand that they went through hell.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't really have much choice either.
Yeah.
Uh, Tell me a little bit about the you mentioned something about Christianity, and your parents were Christians, and that was that a result of residential schools, or was that something that's brought into the community?
It was brought into the community. I believe down in Standoff. My grandparents kind of just took that initiative um to find that faith I guess, and so to
Yeah.
speak. I guess, the way the teachings that they had for us kind of really opened up my eyes as to how, it's not the religion of that makes what happened bad. It was the people that made what happened bad. But
Yeah.
they used the religion as a weapon, like fear
Right.
mongering. It's just, they made us fear stuff. If we were to, you know, if we were to reach to another dimension when we pass away, or we were going to reach heaven, then they would use that against us.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened a lot.
And in that, in my opinion, that's kind of what I thought.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Ayaya songs are about our histories. Ayaya is an Inuit-owned firm that tells our stories in many languages across Canada. They are experts in publishing children's books, usually in syllabics, and they do large multi-language projects like the reports of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Commission. If you need help getting your stories into classrooms or homes in Cree, Inuktitut, or other Indigenous languages, check them out at ayaya.ca. That's ayaya.ca. Ayaya is a proud sponsor of the Roots and Hoots podcast.
You have a business now, and it's called the Lone Eagle Ventures. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I started my business about the year COVID hit. I was working with the schools and with the kids in the schools about 5 years prior to COVID hitting, and well, my late uncle always said, "Well, you should just make a business and do that." So the year I started, I incorporated and got it all registered. It was the year COVID hit and everything shut down on us, and it was kind of we felt the effects. But um, I've been working a lot. Our business has been working a lot with children, youth, and adults now, helping them find their life skills, so to speak, using horses. We do a lot of work with young adults now, and we're in treatment centers, in healing groups. We've worked with a couple of men's healing groups and a couple of women's healing groups as well. Now that we're really well established throughout Canada and in the world, really, um, because of because of who I am and what I do as an actor and stunts and a youth advocate and a role model. There's a lot of titles that I wear. So with my horse program, we travel like I said, right now I'm up in northern Alberta outside of school, and we are working with the grade 2s and 3s right now. And then next week we go back and we work with some people from the treatment center. So we help people understand their own healing, their own problem solving, their own the communication, why, and to get to the root of the problems. And believe it or not, it's all through the magic of using horses. Horses are great communicators. They're great conduits to for people to talk to each other, to people to open up to each other, to work together, to work on their own stuff. If they just we all in our First Nations, we all have the spirit of animals, and horses are what we've used. And we believe that they take off a lot of our negative energy, and they're able to open a lot of doors and open a lot of eyes to a lot of things. We've helped adults, we've helped people. We've had a young woman that was suicidal come to us and spending 10 days with us in the horses. After she left, she became very, very motivated, and she finished her studies, and she did a lot of things, just because she spent all this time with our horses, right? And our horses all have their unique characteristics, and there's one that's kind of like like a really pushy or kind of bossy, and we have one that's just very laid back and just do whatever you say. But they all have their unique characteristics where you match them with somebody that they mirror them really. They mirror the person, how they're feeling and how they are that day,
Yeah.
and it's
So
magical.
how do you match them up? Like, you just is this a random thing or what?
Well, there's a process that we do. We go through a whole step by step process where we teach people how to right from the ground up. So my philosophy is you can't lead a horse on the ground, you can't lead a horse on his back.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to learn the pressure points and how a horse moves and what makes them, what scares them or whatever, which in turn what scares you and everything else. If you have a horse if you have a person that you bring in a person that typically runs away from their problems a lot, then we know which horse does the same. He knows which horse will run away from their problems and not deal with anything. So
Wow.
and really when 9 times out of 10, if you give a halter to somebody, say and go into the pen and go catch a horse, the one that you're going to work with that day, they usually pick the one that's most like them, whether they realize it or not.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So
I mean,
again, it's something non-indigenous people call it magical. We call
yeah.
spiritually. We see the connections happen, and we don't even have to do anything for them, but we just know
Yeah.
what the people. But we have a big meeting beforehand. We have a round like a group discussion. Everybody goes around how they're feeling and stuff. Then then we tell them, okay, well, it's your turn to go catch the horses. And the one that you're gonna work with is the one that you're gonna stay with for the whole week. And now, if they don't get along, then they have to figure out what's wrong with them in order for why is this horse
Yeah.
scared of you? Why is this horse acting like this to you? It's because you're doing it. A horse can feel your heartbeat from 10 feet away.
Really? Wow.
So he knows what you're feeling before you even get there. So if you're scared of him, he's going to be scared.
Oh.
It's that kind of thing. So we spend a lot of time with people and get to know them, and they get to know the horses really, really well. So
Yeah.
that my goal is that when they come to the ranch, they come to our program, we just say, okay, you know where the halters are, you know where all the blitz, the saddles are. Go find your horse and take them for a walk. Tell them all your problems. Tell them everything that you need to hear, because horses will not judge you. They won't, they won't give you a bad opinion. They won't say anything. They'll take all your problems, and at the end of the day, when you take the saddle off and they go and roll, they just took off all your problems and they gave it back to Mother Earth for you.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah.
So that's the kind of work that we do, and
Yeah.
it's been very, very effective in the last 10 years, really.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's I want to say horse therapy. You got a name for it, equestrian therapy or something like that?
Well, we call it equine assisted therapy, right? So
Okay.
when they say equine, like horse therapy, that means you're working on your horse.
Oh, okay.
But this one's more, we're working with people.
Right.
So there's people that work with horses that have people problems or have problems themselves.
Oh,
But we
right.
work with people that are going through something with our horses. So the
Yeah.
healing is with our horses' eyes.
Wow. And how many horses do you have?
To date, we have 16 horses that we all use to work with our clients and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, our business is family owned. My wife is a facilitator. My daughters are now facilitators as well. So we have, in our tradition, my cousins, we don't have cousins and stuff like that. My nephews are typically known as sons. My nieces are daughters. My cousins are brothers. So we don't really have those titles. So when I
Wow,
say my
that's
brother,
different.
I have like my little brother that I'm mentoring right now. He's actually my cousin, but we're brothers.
Yeah.
So when I say it's family oriented, my mom is one of our elders that comes in, and we all bond together and help others
Yeah.
that come in and whatnot. And when they see that kind of structure, a lot of them do it's right from the get-go. They see the structure happening, and then that gives them some kind of structure as well. And being alcoholic, being a recovering alcoholic, I've been a recovering alcoholic for 18 years now.
Yeah.
And because I'm an alcoholic, I think I know everything. But again, I'm a hereditary alcoholic where I picked up on it because that's how my family coped with things.
Yeah.
And their coping mechanism was because of how they were treated in residential school. And from residential school, like in their parents, how harsh my grandmother was, and how, they didn't have those negotiating skills that we have now. There's, okay, well, let's talk about it. They didn't have that ability because they weren't allowed to. And because of that, we were able to help people understand themselves and grow personally. And again, it's all through the work of using horses. And so that's the main basics, because we always refer back to them. Well, how did your horse feel today? How did your horse work today for you today? And it forgets, it makes them forget about, things that they're doing out there and focus on the responsibility of the horse.
So you travel all over the province, or will you come to Ottawa?
I've traveled. I travel quite a bit. Not only do I do this, I'm also an accomplished rodeo judge and rodeo cowboy and an actor, stuntman. So I do quite a bit of traveling typically.
Yeah, I love horses myself. I asked you, I said, will you come to Ottawa with your horses?
You know what? I've taken my horses all the way down to Florida. So really? I don't have any issues of going to Ottawa.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to talk to our boss about that. I love horses myself. I just have I just love horses, and I could, I probably enjoy being out at your ranch or wherever you live in Morley.
For sure. And the best thing about it is that people that talk about it, they usually come back to reconnect with horses, and they reconnect with the land. And it's a kickstart. And people not everybody's going to get on and be a cowboy and be a cowgirl or be a ranch hand, whatever. But they come back and they have that reconnection, and that's to me, that's the best part of it. In part of recovery, we always talk about a higher power. Whether whatever your higher power is, that's what you use. And a lot of times, people come and they talk with the horses and stuff, and they help them, right? So again, the horses will come. They'll they won't lie to you. They won't give you a bad answer. They won't judge you. They will mirror you again. But again, if you're feeling nervous, a horse will feel nervous.
Okay.
So they like put it this way: if a horse can feel a fly landing on its back and twitch, then you know how well his senses are.
Yeah. You're doing quite a bit of stuff, and that's kind of the main part of what I wanted to talk to you about, the heating part. And now, do you have like a facility there in Morley where you live? And how does it work?
It's usually, our program, we have a 12-week curriculum, so that we use through the schools that helps. And then it goes, each participant goes through these, specially designed obstacle courses with the horses, learning to lead them through different things and learning the pressure points of the horse, learning working from the ground up. We do have a facility. We have an arena at our place in Morley, but any type of accommodations, we do tell people, well, we have the SNR back home, or we have Cochrane's nearby. Cochrane and Calgary is the nearest city. So we're only 20, half an hour away from each, from there. Or, if they have a camper and they want a place to park, we have all that at our place as well. So typically we have like a 12-week program where we do right from the introduction right into the end, and then we do allow people to keep coming back. Like our female and male group, a lot of guys they just want to come back and reconnect with horses and reconnect with the land, and we love to ride. My daughter, my wife, and myself, we get a chance to go riding, then we'll take that opportunity to ride. So if anybody wants to come out and just enjoy, a nice ride out in the big hills, like you mentioned, over where our family land is. It's kind of the east side of Morley, so we have a big hill that overlooks all of Morley. So I'm thinking that's probably where you you visited.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places that we what we have, and that people will come back and just to revisit things and revisit the land, and do whatever they want to do, and tell all their problems to whatever horse
Yeah.
they're working with.
That's awesome. Yeah. You're also a stunt worker, right? You did some work. You do some stunt work on movies, and is that correct?
Yeah. So the last big production I did was Outlander over in Scotland. So I got the opportunity to go over to Scotland with a bunch of First Nations people from Canada. I went over as a stunt rider. Then it just slowly led into something else. And then I had a big speaking role on one of the seasons on there. I kind of got my start because of my ability with what I did with horses, and working with them, and riding them. That's kind of how I got started in it, and just um, went for an audition, and next thing you know, I got casted for a role on a film, and then I got more, and then it was fun because you get out there and you get to play Indian a lot, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I've kind of slowed down a lot on the stunt work because I'm getting older in age. Like I'll be
Yeah.
54 this year, and it hurts now to land on the ground. But there's
Yes.
a lot of young guys that are coming up, and they've done a lot of work. Like a few people that I know of, down in Big Honey, the provosts doing really well in the industry, and I know that they've reached out, and they made they're helping other people learn too as well. So same as how kind of it's a program that we started with Stunt Nations. We try to get a lot of people out there, and get them started in something, and get them getting that training and how to not only just fall off horses or pretend to get hit by a gun, but to what it takes to be in the industry. You know, we're very big on alcohol and drug free, and we have to get to different productions, and what to expect when you get on the production. So we kind of
Yeah.
do it right from the roots up, right? And
Yeah.
but again, there's a lot of people out there that are that had the opportunity, and there's a lot of people that actually messed up on a lot of opportunities because
Yeah.
they went out the night before and they missed their call time, and
Right.
so we trying to really help people along the lines of that, right? But
Yeah.
I do a lot of not motivational speaking, but I do a lot of role modeling. People ask, and I haven't done any workshops for Stunt Nations yet for a couple of years, but we had a couple productions where our stunt team went in, and we did what we could with the productions, and it was really good. It was really well received, and I
Yeah.
think actually we're supposed to be coming to Ontario this year.
Oh,
Um, they have asked if we'd be willing to come to Ontario, and we did say yes. So that's in the
yeah.
works as well. So, and again, it's not about us being, the only program. It's a bus. What's good for one is good for everybody else. So if we can help other Indigenous stunt teams or other Indigenous groups get together and help each other, that's what it's all about. It's not about us. It's about everyone.
Right. You were on the TV program called North of 60 at one time. How did this come about, and what was your role?
Oh, North of 60. I played a character. His name was Terry Whitemud. He was kind of just a henchman for William McNeil, who was played by Nathaniel Arcan. And I was because of the work that I did on another show, the casting director came and asked me if I would really be willing to audition for this role. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll come check it out. And I went to this hotel room, and because of my trauma and what I went through, when if somebody asks you to come to a hotel room, your red flags go up. So I was kind of intimidated, or I was kind of scared, more or less. So I didn't know what to expect when I got to this hotel room. Well, when I walked in, it was such a relief to see the casting directors, the producers, directors, and everybody else there, and it
Yeah.
kind of made me, I felt at ease. And I actually auditioned for another role, but it was kind of a smaller one. and I didn't have an agent at the time, but when I went in, they asked me if I had an agent. I said no, I don't. They said, well, you should get one. And I said, okay, I'll look around. And then the next thing I know, I got a call from the casting director, and they said that they wanted me to play the character Terry Whitemud. So,
Yeah.
and I said, sure, and his role, Terry's role was very small in the beginning, but became bigger and bigger as we went on, and ended up Terry ended up shooting his character shot the Tina in one of the last episodes of that. So that was kind of, I got to work with the great Tina Keeper, and it
Tom
was really
Jackson.
it was a great experience, yes, and with
Yeah.
Tom, and a lot of friends that I have who spoke on my documentaries, Michelle Strach, Nathaniel Arcan. So I got to work with a lot of great actors at that time.
Yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Ayaya songs are about our histories. Ayaya is an Inuit-owned firm that tells our stories in many languages across Canada. They are experts in publishing children's books, usually in syllabics, and they do large multi-language projects like the reports of the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Commission. If you need help getting your stories into classrooms or homes in Cree, Inuktitut, or other Indigenous languages, check them out at ayaya.ca. That's ayaya.ca. Ayaya is a proud sponsor of the Roots and Hoots podcast.
I auditioned for one part one time, and my only time I auditioned for an acting job, and that was in Winnipeg. Now, when you went to the audition for this part, what did they make you? Did they make you read something? Did they tell you to do something, or what?
Yeah, so they had the lines, they had the scripts for the person that I went to go audition for, the character, I guess. So they had the breakdown there. So they gave me, they gave me 10, 15 minutes to look at the lines, and then I went in and I read for them, right? And so based on that is what they chose me to play this other character from.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and again, I guess maybe I wasn't strong enough for that, or maybe I was too strong for the smaller part. So they gave me the part that I went to go read was small, but then the one they gave me or casted me for was actually a little bigger. And again,
yeah.
it kind of just grew and grew and grew. And
Okay.
I had longer hair, and I was 40 pounds lighter, I want to say.
Yeah.
So
I was. There's a guy on North of 60 who's a very good friend of mine. You probably met him. His name is Errol Canistino.
yeah, from Saskatchewan, yeah.
Yeah, he played Leon on North of
Yeah.
60. And
Yeah.
he's the guy that I went and did the audition with in Winnipeg. And
Oh wow.
he ended up getting the part.
Oh yeah.
It was a play about, it was called Ecstasy of Rita Joe. And it was a part Rita Joe's boyfriend. But he did a better job than me. So he got the part. And that was my one and only acting audition.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You're also a singer and a musician. What type of songs do you sing and instrument do you play?
I started off when I was a kid. I had a hard time fitting into different groups. Because of my issues with being abandoned and my sexual abuse trauma, I had a lot of worries or just trying to fit into different groups.
Yeah.
So I had always had this certain rhythm to me. So I started playing drums for a group, and they were called the Nightwind Band out in Morley, and we traveled quite throughout Alberta and the United States and whatnot. So I was a drummer at the time, but there were some places where I wasn't allowed in because I was 16 and we played a lot of bars. So
All right.
they had to sneak me into the back so I can get to the stage. And it was kind of, but I always had this drive in me, and I had this certain rhythm where I like to play drums. Like even when I drive to this day, I'll sit there and tap, or,
Yeah.
I'll always have to keep that thing moving.
Yeah.
And then I just, from there I just kept, when the certain guys wouldn't show up, I would play guitar for them. I learned how to play guitar. My dad is he's a guitar player as well. He's a great guitar player, and he's also a preacher to this day. So he sings a lot and whatnot. So I kind of picked that up. So learning guitar for me was was easy, I want to say, because I had the ear for it, and then I just started singing as well. I sing a lot of country songs, a lot of country rock songs, a lot of classic rock songs and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it just keeps me going. During COVID,
Yeah.
when I caught
Yeah.
COVID, I sang a lot, which kept my lungs moving,
Right.
and it kept me, it kept that part of it going. I've played bass for different groups in Alberta. I played bass for a country singer out here named Armin Duck Chief. I still once in a while I'll jump on stage with him, and just a lot of the other bands and like local bands in Morley, I'll go and jump on the stage and sing a song or two with them and whatnot, just to help out. But I don't have a band like myself
Yeah.
anymore. I just kind of I go out and just help out with other people when they ask, like a hired
There's a
gun,
lot of-
really.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think we have a lot in common because I was a drummer too at one time in high school. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, enjoyed it tremendously. But we kind of split up after we graduated from high school. We all went different directions. Actually, I have a cousin out in Calgary by the name of Toby, and his last name is Dick, and they got a band still going. The guy that I played with, his name was John Dick, is my age. But John has a whole bunch of brothers, and they all played musical instruments, and he started a band called the Dick Brothers. So, and he's
Nice.
still playing to this day. But Toby lives out in Calgary, so he gets when he gets a chance, he plays with his brothers. So, but I know a lot of Indigenous people, First Nations people are musicians, are good singers, and excellent musicians. And I'm sure that everybody people know people that do sing and play musical instruments. So it's a really good hobby to have.
Yeah.
We're almost at the end of our interview here. What I wanted to ask you was before the last question. When you do the work that you do, working with youth and horses and that, and the other things that you do, what do you find the most challenging of the things that you do in your life now, and what gives you the most satisfaction?
What the most challenging is having people come out and having them trust themselves to do that healing. Again, they come out and they want to reconnect with horses. They want to reconnect with themselves or anything else, but a lot of the times they're gun shy, or they're nervous, or they're scared, and they're scared to to reach out and ask for that help. For us, that seemed to be the most challenging because we've been to different places where a lot of people like we want to come out and whatnot, and a lot of times it comes to funding problems as well, and transportation, and we try to overlook a lot of those things and try to help people, because genuinely we just want to help people achieve something and set their goals, right? So, well, we've had Facebook and we've had those accounts, but we found that it was to be humble. We thought, well, we won't post anything. We won't even use it. We have a website
Right.
that we do use, but for the other purposes, it seemed to be more intimidating than anything else. We stepped away from that. But the most challenging is having people actually come out and do it. So I know, like in Calgary, there's a group that came out. They bust people out to our place and whatnot, that faced those kind of challenges, where they didn't have the transportation, they didn't have the means. But if they came through a program, we like, well, whatever you guys decide to pay, that's we're not asking for a lot. Just come out and and I tell that to people, is like, just come out, we can worry about things later.
Yeah.
And the most rewarding part that I found was that when they did come out, was to see their smile and to see their faces and to just see that satisfaction, like, to see that healing part. And you can see them shine after, really. It's just,
Right.
you see them in how, from where they were in life to where they are now. The one girl, she always says, well, I owe it all to Pepper, your horse, because we have this hill, we call it the Trust Hill, and it's kind of steep and it's long. So we always tell our clients, you have to trust your horse. you have to trust them, which leads them to help in trusting other people. So you have to trust yourself, trust your horse, that you're going to make it down safe. A lot of people struggle with it. I've struggled with it, but
Yeah.
you have to trust your horse to lead them down. And
Right.
at the end of when they get down at the bottom of the hill, you can see their faces. You can see how much light comes into them just
Yeah.
by watching them. And because
Mhm.
I'm an observer and by nature as well, which when I'm out on the ranch, when I'm looking for cattle or something, I'm always looking and scanning the environment and whatnot. So I watch their reaction and to
Mhm.
see how they are, and that's kind of what our thing is. And then that's when you use that as a teachable moment. We call them the aha moments. It's like, aha,
Okay.
how
Yeah.
did the horse feels for you today? What did he do? What did he do to you to make you feel like you can trust him? And they're like, well, he didn't back up. He didn't do it. He walked down the hill that I asked him to because he trusts me that I'm gonna make sure I steer him in the right direction where he's not going to get hurt or slip or fall. And he's trusting me to guide him that way. And I'm
Right.
trusting him to get me down at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there's that connection that,
Mutual trust. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's all built around that.
Yeah.
To me, that was my more satisfying moments to have that young woman come to our program. And it was there. She was at the end of her rope, but to see how she is and to hear how she's doing now, it's been a blessing to us, really,
Yeah.
because if I can use my story to help others, um, step out of their comfort zone, step out of their and take a healthy risk, then I
Mhm.
would like that to happen more, right? And
Yeah.
so for me, it's that's the most challenging and the most rewarding is
Kind of
himself.
what your business is all about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was well said. And I got a last question for you. When you hear the word reconciliation, what comes to mind?
I guess for me, when I hear the word reconciliation, is we're far from it. Like I sit I'm the president of the Alberta Treaty Hockey Association. Um, and the city of Calgary, we work with the city of Calgary to use their arenas because we bring in 100. This year we have 147 teams coming to treaties, and
Wow.
there's two big tournaments that happen every year in Alberta. The native provincials happen in Edmonton, and then the Alberta Treaty Hockey Championships happen in Calgary. So, and I'm president of that.
Hmm.
So for me, it's like you wanna work with people, and let's work together to make a healthy, help make a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And so when I look at that, and like I said earlier, there's other stunt groups within Alberta. There's other people that do the same kind of stuff that we do. And even though they're slightly different, the intent is there. The
Hmm.
intent to help people is there, and that's what we're all about. So,
Right.
so that kind of reconciliation happens within us. But as First Nations, we have to mentor other people and model that. Again,
Mhm.
there's people trying, but they try only as a title. They don't try within their heart. And
Yeah.
I say this because the hoops that they make us jump through just to have a tournament in Calgary is people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, I
Wow.
thought you just have to pay," and they're like, "No, there's more to it." Now they're asking for more insurance. Now they're asking for more police presence. Now for a native tournament, like, come on. And I always ask, well, what other non-indigenous function has to have the same thing? And they'll
Mhm.
never answer me. They can't
Yeah.
answer me because they don't
Yeah.
ask for the same thing.
Yeah. Right. Do you have a website?
For us, yeah, for Lone Eagle Ventures.ca is if you look under our horse program, and the other one is stuntnations.com if you want to look up our stunt or our stunt business as well.
Okay. All right.
So they kind of go hand in hand because a lot of the students that come through Stunt Nations, they're going through either they're going through stuff, but so we have a lot of great people that are facilitators. Some people from Ontario a guy came from Ontario and he loved it because they didn't have this type of program in Ontario.
Yeah.
And he learned how to fall off a horse like properly.
Without
So now,
getting hurt.
yeah, without getting hurt. So now he's doing it more.
Yeah. Awesome, Marty. I've been talking to Marty Wildman from Alberta. I want to thank Marty for taking the time to do this with us. Thank you, Marty. And on behalf of the Legacy of Hope Foundation, we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us for talk about your business and what you do, healing, using horses, and working with youth. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Gordon.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Yes, hopefully we'll connect sometime. If I'm ever in Calgary, I'll certainly come out to Morley and try.
Yeah, feel free. If you come during a stampede, you'll see me at the parade because I'm one of the wranglers on the parade.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you. Sneeze.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Roots and Hoots is a podcast project produced by the Legacy of Hope Foundation. For episode show notes, please visit the podcast description and make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. For more information about the work we do, please visit legacyofhope.ca.